Our first speaker is already with us, so that's Tobias Kreklo from HAIP Solutions, and Tobias is going to present Look Beyond the Visible, user-friendly hyperspectral imaging products. Tobias, looking forward to your presentation.
Thanks for the introduction. Yeah, my name is Tobias. I'm one of the co-founder and also the CEO of the company called HAIP Solutions. What we do is we want to look beyond the visible. And why we are doing that, that's what I'm going to explain you in the next few slides. I guess that's an image that everybody has already seen in the last, years already. Something that is very aware in the society, and especially in our young generation, is that we need to do something. We need to change how we behave, how we do our industry. And that's also like the core value that we have in our company, is that if we want to do something, we want to do technology for a good purpose. So please keep that in mind when I'm going to my talk. That's also why we focus on a very specific sector. We call it the environmental sector. So that can be agricultural purposes, it can be food industry, it can be recycling, it can also be environmental monitoring. That's all these sectors that we are focusing on with our technology, because we think we can do a huge impact in these sectors if we create the best technology, the best user-friendly products for the people using that. And I want to focus specifically on one use case, which is actually not very present here at the Vision, but we have a very, very big trade fair in Hanover where we are based. It's called the Agritechnica. It's one of the biggest agriculture fairs. And if you go to the fair, you will see always these signs, these images, buzzwords like precision farming, future farms. You will see drones, you will see these precise application maps. But we can only create these maps and we can only create this information if we use technology, and especially imaging technology, to create a sustainable agriculture in the end. And that's also something that's very important to keep in mind. And because I do not know how everyone is familiar with spectral imaging, we do a little bit of an excursion into spectral imaging. What is very important to know is that we humans, we only see a very small fraction of light. So that's very important to keep in mind. So with RGB sensors, so red, green, and blue, we see only a very small fraction. And hyperspectral imaging is able to analyze a way bigger amount of light. And that's what we use in our technology, in our products. And like every surface can absorb, transmit, and reflect light, and that's in the end what the sensor can detect and what we are looking at in our sensors. And what you normally get out of a normal classical RGB sensor is the 2D image. So you have the X and Y axis. With hyperspectral imaging, we get a third dimension, which is the spectral wavelengths in the end. And this gives us information about very different parameters, which are not mostly visible to the human eye. So as you can see here on the image, what we get per pixel is in the end a so-called spectral signature. And that is in the end what we are going to analyze. And as you can already see in this image, that's from a stressed plant. We are monitoring plant stress here. You can see there's already a great variation within the spectral signature. And that's something that is very important if we want to continue with our agriculture as it is. So if you look at vegetation, you can see already there's something happening, and there's a lot of things happening which are not visible to the human eye. So leaf pigments is obvious. That's something that we can see. That's also why we are seeing plants as green. But a lot of parameters regarding cell structure and water content, that's not something that is visible to the human eye, but which is very important if you want to look, for example, also on the plant stress. And the plant stress is something that is very important to check how we can optimize the agricultural procedures on the field. So to give you one example, which is the plant disease monitoring, which is very important if you look ahead on the pesticide usage out on the fields, which is something that is very discussed in politics and society. You can see that it's possible to differentiate between the spectral signatures of a healthy plant, which is the top one, and the middle one you see a diseased plant with powdery mildew, and you see the spectral signature is already quite different. And that's something that's very important, and it's way easier to analyze plant diseases by checking the spectral signature than doing pixel classification, for example. So that's something that's very, very important in hyperspectral imaging. And also what is possible, we can differentiate between different plant diseases. And that's something that is knowledge which is going to be lost in agriculture because, that's knowledge that you need to go out into the fields. But if we are using technology, people are not going out in the field. So sensors need to detect these things. And it's even possible to detect the different plant diseases and to do the best strategy regarding our pesticide usage out on the field. So where are we coming then in? That's what we do at HAIP Solutions. We create hyperspectral imaging products for a very broad range of platforms. So we have UAV products, we have handheld products, we have also products for lab usage. But the biggest thing that we want to do is we want to make it as user-friendly as possible. So that's the purpose behind all of our products. And to give you one example that we have also here at the trade fair, you can have a look on our booth, is the so-called Black Mobile, which is a smart mobile hyperspectral camera, so it's a handheld device. It's very fast and easy to use. And the biggest important thing is that we have a broadband LED lighting unit already integrated. So we have really everything in the device to do analysis out in the field. And that's very important. You can also use the 4K RGB camera to documentation purposes, but it's really important that we have a very broad range hyperspectral camera in there that can already analyze plant stress right on the go. And just to give you a few examples of what is possible, we can also not use it only in agriculture purposes, but one thing that is also important here is, for example, food industry. And to do food industry monitoring, we can also use such devices to go into warehouses to do quality monitoring for incoming goods control, just to give you a few examples. If you want to talk about deeper, then feel free to visit our booth and we can have a chat there and you can see also the live demo. And another very important thing, which is, I guess, very familiar already in the industry, are the industrial inline applications, also for mostly checking the food quality and monitoring defects or foreign objects. But the most important thing in the future will be to get hyperspectral embedded devices. And that's something that we created, is that we have already integrated GPUs into our devices so that we have really smart cameras that can be implemented at any place, at any given time, to detect a various amount of parameters. And in food industry, we mostly have food fraud detection or foreign object detection, which is very important, but also quality differentiation, chemical composition, ripeness measurement, and protein content. Those are things that can be detected with hyperspectral imaging, but are not visible with the human eye. So it's very important to use these technology to reduce our food waste, for example. That's in the end what you get as a result. It's not the spectral data. Sure, you get the information. That's something that is very valuable for all the consumers and for all the people who are working in the industry, in the food processing chain, as we don't want to use hyperspectral data. We want to get information out of our products, and that can be done by using embedded systems in the end. And we are having also the broadband LED lighting panel available, so if that's out of interest for you, definitely feel free to check out. And one last slide for our own purpose. So we already created a team of 12 people now, and we are still looking for more. So if there's somebody in the audience who's willing to work at our company, at our very motivated team, I would be happy to talk to you, and feel free to reach out to us. That's from my side. Thanks for listening. My name is Tobias from HAIP Solutions.
Thank you, Tobias. I could allow one question, and I see Olaf has one. Please.
Thank you very much for the presentation. Who are your customer, or your intended customer?
The market is actually very differentiated. So we have customers in, for example, the food industry, typical system integrators, but we are definitely looking beyond the table, beyond the plate in the end, because we are definitely looking more towards real application. So it's not only the system integrator who could use such devices, but we are also looking very deeply into the vertical, as agriculture, for example, and then are directly targeting, for example, plant manufacturers or seed breeders in the end, who can use their technology to create better plant health out in the field. Yeah, so it's not the direct farmer in the end, but it's sure then in some kind of vertical. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Tobias. Just a question to the audience. Is our second speaker already with us? So Lincode Labs. Rajesh. Huh? Oh, yes. So that's not the case. That's very unfortunate. So if you have further questions to Tobias, you can grill him.
We can also give the other speakers some time.
Yeah, but I was told just to wait and go according to the order so that the stream can follow everything. So we have 10 minutes to cover. Sorry, Tobias.
Don't worry.
Do you have first customers?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. We are actually already selling.
Sorry, you have to use then. Hello. Hello.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Yes, we have already first customers. We are shipping already worldwide, so we have distributors already in Japan, in South Korea, in China. And we see especially the Asian market as a very, very big chance for us because the quality of food, especially in Japan, is very high valued. So I've been in Japan actually in 2018 before, and the amount of like love that they put into creating products and especially food products is amazing, and I think is very unique in the world. And so quality monitoring is something which is very of high importance there, because if you create a product which is out of high value, you also need to make sure that you only sell the best products that you have. And some things are not visible to the human eye, so that's why we definitely need to use some kind of technology in that use cases. Yeah.
Yeah, so for the audience who might await in the stream the presentation of Lincont Labs, we are still at the first presenter at HAIP Solutions. And I see two further questions from the stream, from the jury members. So one is from Lou Hermans, and he is asking, how do you differentiate from the competition? I mean, hyperspectral imaging, that's quite the topic, or has been for some years. So how do you differentiate from the competition?
Yeah, so sure, we are not reinventing the wheel here in most, in some of the products, definitely. But what we are definitely trying to do is we are really targeting the vertical. We are not seeing ourselves as a camera producer. We are seeing ourselves as a technology provider for some verticals, and that's maybe something that differentiates us between all of the other competitors. So most of them are just like creating cameras in the end, but what we want to do is we want to deliver information with our products. That's just the start, but we created the company, or founded the company 3 years ago, so it's still quite a young time, but there's more things that are going forward in these verticals, and we are happy to show, especially at Fruit Logistics, for example, in March next year, very interesting things directly on our devices.
So another question, I mean, you said you're offering more than a camera. So the next question from the chat is dealing with that. What about software? What software do you offer? What approach methodology for the software algorithms? I hope I get it right.
For example, we are collaborating with also the guys from Perclass. So we have also integrated our cameras into the Perclass software. We're having also our own software running on the devices. So we are really open in that case, because what we think and what we also experience, especially in agriculture industry, is that the IP and training data is of very high value, and nobody is going to give away their training data, and nobody also wants to push these data onto some other company, especially in agriculture, because those are huge players there. I think that's they are the biggest corporates in the world that we can look at, and so they definitely need to create their own algorithms and need to create their own training data. And what we are doing is then supplying them with our products, also with the software, to create these valuable data in the end for them. Yeah.
Thank you. I know it's a bit unfair to the remaining 3 startups to give you a platform for 19 to 15 minutes, but I'm sorry, I was told to wait until 9:30 to start with the next speaker. So I could allow one further question, and I have it already in this chat. How are you combining your technology, with robotics? With robotics.
Yes, we are actually having a research project going on in that case for the usage in greenhouses. But the biggest problem, especially in agriculture, is that if you look in greenhouses which are not situated here in Europe, or in like Netherlands, Belgium, if you look, for example, in like Northern Africa, where most of the tomatoes for the European market are coming from, we have very, very low-tech agriculture industry. So there is not even, the greenhouses are not very high-tech, and they are just like plastic tunnels in the end, so to say. And there we can't use robotics. And that's, for example, one use case where the handheld device is of very high importance, because also the staff is still too cheap. So to put out a robotic solution is way, way, way more expensive than using staff and checking the fruit or the vegetable quality directly with a mobile device. So that's something where we want to definitely target our products to. because robotic solution is still expensive, and I don't think that the price will decrease in such an amount that they will be used in such low-tech environments in the future.
Okay. So there are more questions, but I don't want to overload your patience. We still have to cover a few minutes, so a question to all of the startups. Could you hand me the mic, perhaps? Thank you. So when was your company founded?
Ours was founded in 2019, so 3 years we are now live. So
Okay, perfect. What about you, Visionary AI?
Also 2019, December 2019.
Wow,
Very new.
very good. So it's like a pre-COVID startup session. Alex,
We are younger, 2020.
founded 2020. Wow, so you are a COVID startup. You are a COVID startup, okay. And Harald Wüst from...
We have been founded 2018, beginning of 2018. So 5 years now operating.
Perfect. So thank you for that, and also a warm-up for the rest of the startups. So Tobias, I would like to close your session. Thank you for presenting HAIP Solutions. Look beyond the visible, user-friendly hyperspectral imaging products. So good luck.
thank you.
Thank you.